And welcome back to Pastor Plek's podcast. So glad all of you are joining us. I was recording live here in Austin, Texas. And I'm joined none other than from the Cody Sparks band, Mr. Cody Sparks. How you doing, Cody?
Still here.
Still here?
Rock and roll.
How's that foot?
It's getting better.
You know, he had a slight Achilles tear, had to have surgery, then had to have a root canal, then had an abscess, then... So you're finally back sort of in one piece?
Nope.
No, not yet. We're working on it.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. All right, and then also, this is a long-time listener, first-time guest, Austin Plekenpol.
Hey.
This is my oldest son, and Austin, we're here to talk about what it's like to be a preacher's kid, a PK. And if you didn't know that, Cody here is also a PK.
Still a PK.
Still a PK. His dad is pastoring in Perryton,
Yep.
Texas. Tell us what church that is.
Victory Family Church. Still there. Been there 40.
So he plant that church 40 years ago?
It started off, no. Well, initially it was a little church called Calvary Temple. My grandpa actually preached there for a little bit, but then later on, my dad took over, and then eventually they moved to where they are now, built there, and changed the name to Victory Family Church, and been there since.
There you go.
Very long time.
Very long time. Okay, so talk to me then. Let's talk about the dynamics. So, Austin, you're probably just figuring out that you're different than every other kid.
Yes.
Like, when did you realize that, and I'd love to hear when you figured out that, like, not every kid has to, like, go everywhere with their dad and be pastor things. But, Austin, when did you figure out that not everyone's dad was a pastor or, like, had a weird sort of job?
It was probably in second grade.
What was the thing that...
I don't know, when everybody started cursing, and I just didn't know that was normal.
So at school, everyone was cursing.
Yeah, it was normal then.
And so, like, when we say cursing, we're talking like S words and F words. We're talking about the full gamut.
No, nobody knew the F word yet.
Oh, nobody knew the F. Okay, so it was just the S word.
Yes.
Okay, so when did the F word come into?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Ooh.
So second grade, the S word. Fourth grade, the F word. And so all the other kids in second grade were cussing. And did you sort of like how did you know not to start cussing?
Well, probably it was from you. You kept telling me not. It was like against the Bible and like to, you know.
So so it's one of those things like when your dad tells you something. Is there any party that sort of eye rolls and like, okay, my dad would say that. And how did you overcome the eye roll to go like, okay, I guess this is important because my dad's making a big deal about it?
Well, a lot of kids got in trouble for it, and like then when you kept saying not to do it, I kind of saw the point of what you meant.
Okay, so the other kids getting in trouble, me sort of reinforcing that.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever say like, hey, when you hear these words, don't say them? Or
Yes.
how did you know? How did I know that you knew those words?
Well, I came home probably in the middle of the school year, and I told you.
Oh, I remember one time. I think you said this to Mom. All right, you were like, "Hey, can you get that S down from the bed?" It was like you use it in normal vernacular, and that's when Mommy came over to me, Adrian, my wife. She came over to me, and she goes, "Austin used this word, and I don't think he knows that he should use this word." And I think that's when we had our initial talk about that specific word. Mm-hmm. Cody, was cussing a thing in Perryton?
Well, my story is a little different because I went to... my parents had a Christian academy, so
you got extra preacher kid.
Yeah, extra. Up until 6th grade, I didn't go to public school. I played sports and stuff, but I wasn't around enough to hear a lot of those words.
Right.
And then eventually, obviously I did. I'll never forget in 7th grade, junior high football, it was, I think, like first, second, third day. And obviously for me, character and integrity and things were like huge then.
Yeah.
And I was a yes, sir,
yeah,
sharp, trying to keep it together. And as luck would have it, we were getting dressed and one of my friends pushed me and I fell back over the bench in the locker room, and on my way down I said OS.
Oh man.
Which I wasn't a cusser.
Yeah.
And of course my coach was in there walking by and heard me.
Right.
And
lost his mind.
Well, he didn't lose my mind. He just looked at me and I knew, and then I looked at him and I was like, oh geez. And we all got in the huddle outside to get ready to stretch and stuff. And he said, Sparks, take off to the fence and back, which was far.
Yeah.
And I had to go run, and everybody's kind of like, what? And coach was just like, he knows why. And then I went to the fence and came back, but pure embarrassment. That was horrible.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, like, talk to me about, and this is also Preacher's Kid in the 90s, different.
Oh, so different.
Different time. Talk to me about, I don't know, you got to see Austin a little bit. So
yeah.
what's the difference for you on the PK side?
I think that one thing is that back, this goes for like all Christian families for some reason in the 90s, felt like what happens at home or in our personal life stays in our personal life.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't talk about it in public, and it doesn't leave our house. It doesn't go anywhere. I don't know if that was a shame thing or we didn't really quite understand grace at the time.
Right.
Or, there's a lot of different things that come into play there. But at the time that, we just thought, I guess they thought that was the best thing for people to do then and keep it in. And so then in turn, you don't like talk about things. You're just like, oh, I guess we don't ever talk about that. And you hold it in, and then eventually it'll
work itself out, I guess.
100%. Yeah. Or blow up, and you got to let it out in a different way.
Oh, man.
So that part was kind of interesting. So I would say that's tough. The difference is for sure communication, like how you talk to your kids and you say, hey, this is why we do this and this is why we don't do this, is big. It's important. Now, we were taught right from wrong.
Sure.
And I think that's why when I get in trouble or do something wrong, I have such guilt and shame about it. Just because I know that it's wrong, but I still did it, but I still feel horrible.
Yeah. Austin, so whenever you do anything wrong, and like I get on to you about it, like how does I still think you feel some of that, right? Yeah. I probably haven't done that perfectly.
Yeah, it changes from when I handle it differently when I do at school.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I feel way more guilty at school than I do here.
What do you mean? Explain that. I don't know. What do you mean?
Oh, because at school everybody doesn't know me yet because I'm like each year you go to a different grade, so it's a new teacher.
Right.
So it's like they don't know you, so you got to be kind of nice and kind and stuff. But you know me, so.
You don't have to be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that's fair. All right, yeah.
Let's see. I have a 3-year-old, and he had his first S the other day.
Oh, really?
Funniest thing. So not to knock on how much I've been going through, but minus my AC going out and now the hot water heater going out.
Right. You have a lot of house issues. Home ownership.
It's ridiculous, especially when you have a 6-year-old house that should not be having issues
should
like
not
this.
have any of these problems.
So, it is what it is.
Yep.
But we had a guy over that was doing some work, and Aaron and Conway were in the bedroom just watching a movie.
Right.
And recently he really loved Little Giants.
Yeah.
Big Green. And The Sandlot.
Yeah.
So I was in the kitchen on my computer doing some work, and they were watching the movie, and I could hear it, and I know exactly what part because I was listening, I was laughing, and right when Benny the Jet Rodriguez goes over with his PF Flyers, guaranteed to make you run faster, jump higher,
100%,
jumps over, gets the ball, and jumps back over, and they think, we're safe, home free, we got the ball.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the beast jumps over the fence, and Benny the Jet Rodriguez says, oh.
Yeah.
And I heard it, and then all of a sudden, Conway just goes, oh. and I'm in the other room, and I'm just waiting to hear how this plays out. And I'm kind of laughing because it's such pure innocence that he has no idea what he's saying. I mean, he doesn't know. He doesn't think anything's wrong with it.
Right.
Just off the movie. And I'm waiting for Erin to see how this plays out. And then she's like, hey, we don't really say that word. It's just not really nice. And kind of, we don't make a huge deal about it because I feel like if you do, then they're going to keep doing it.
Right.
And so we kind of moved on, but I kind of walked in there, walked around the corner and looked at her, and I was kind of laughing, and she started laughing. And I just said, hey, maybe don't say that again.
Yeah, there you go.
It's okay, but just let's not do that again. And then we moved on, and he hasn't done that before.
All right, so Austin, like, so one of the things that can be, and I'm sure you had to deal with this too, Cody. Like when you come to church, everybody knows you. I don't know if did you know I talk about you when I do sermons?
Oh yeah, most of the time.
And like, does that bother you?
No.
Okay, so Cody, you like the whole church knew who you were.
Yep.
Because like you were your dad's
That's
son, oldest son. And so what was that like having to constantly sort of perform?
Everybody always comes and says hello,
Yep.
says hi. And
was that
like-
awkward? Was that easy? How was that?
oh, I think it was all right. I was a pretty shy kid. I'm still shy, weirdly. People probably don't understand that, but I'm a little bit shy.
Yeah, you are shy. It's great.
I think I would just kind of smile and just be like, hey, hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's up?
Get out of
It's
my way.
awkward. But there also is the cool part about being a PK is people will give you stuff. There was one minister that every time he came to speak at our church, guaranteed would walk up. He was like, I love preachers' kids and I care for them and I think they go through it. Always would hand me a $100 bill.
No way.
What?
Always. $100. Shake
Wow.
my hand and just be like, and give me a little wink. And every time. Even when we went and did a thing in LA at this church. I think I was 19, maybe 18, 19. And I went with my dad there. And I wasn't playing music or anything really yet. And I was just there. And this guy was there speaking too. And he saw me and he came up and gave me a hug. $100. He was like, just want to bless you, man. Just tell you that I appreciate you, and I think you're great, and you're going to do great things, and there you go.
That's wild.
It's great. So there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
Now, in your hometown of a little town, the difference you got as well is I grew up in a town of 8,000 people.
So everybody knew.
Everybody knew everybody's business, and it's rumor central.
Right.
So something would always be popping up that such and such did this, or somebody slept with somebody, or somebody's doing whatever.
Right.
So it was always something going on. And then like these preachers' kids, you do something that the normal kids are doing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, I cannot believe that the Sparks kid
Yeah. He could ever do
went
that.
toilet papering with the other kids. It's unbelievable. It's okay for the other kids, but the preacher's kid, that is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Cannot believe it.
Oh my God.
So that to me was a little bit ridiculous. Holding like kids that are learning and growing, holding them to like a level of accountability that the adults that are making issues of that kid don't even hold themselves to.
Right.
Is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Austin, have you felt that at all?
Oh, not really, but like sort of.
So what's when you talk about like at school, like I'm sure I don't think anyone's like, oh, Austin's do people know you're a preacher's kid at school?
Most people do, yes.
All right. So what is like something that they talk to you about? Or do they bring up like, hey, preacher's kid? Or they make fun of you or?
There's some kids, it's both really. Some kids know me and they're like down the street, my friends.
Yeah.
And then there's some that just like hate Jesus and they're like, Jesus, Jesus. And they're there.
So how do you react to the Jesus schmeezus people? What is like do they like mock you? Like, oh, where's your Jesus now? How do they come across?
They say, you're the pastor's kid, right? And I'm yes. And they're like, well, Jesus is so stupid. Like, why do you even believe that?
Wow. So they come right at you. Is this at like a lunch table or is this like in the middle of class or
it's really anywhere?
Like in the hallway or something?
Yes.
So how do you respond to that? What's your? I mean, let's say if someone goes like, "Why do you believe that?" What do you do? What do you say?
I said, well, I usually just walk away from that.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, because it's challenging, right? When someone sort of challenges your faith, and you're like, and they're just probably doing a drive-by, like, that's dumb. Why do you believe that? And they're still walking.
Yes.
So they're not wanting to engage in a conversation. They're just wanting to sort of like stick it to you.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
So, but there are some kids that ask you questions like they're kind of interested in your answer. Like, what kind of questions you get?
It's like some of them are like about the Trinity, about like how do you understand that? And I'm like, I don't even understand that.
I need to do a better job of that. All right, so the Trinity. What about the Bible? They ever ask like, why is the Bible true?
The Bible, is the Bible true? And I'm like, well, I don't know that. I'm still learning about that too.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me about like when did you become a Christian? Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. I remember I was 3 years old.
Yep.
Walking down our old house stairs, and then it said, I heard this loud voice. It said, "Austin, Plekenpol, it's time."
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that was like it's time for you to become a believer and follower in Jesus. All right, and then from that point forward, what really, how have you, like, you've learned the Bible pretty well. Do you know the Bible pretty well, do you feel like?
Yes.
How do you know it?
Well, when I go to bed, I turn on this audiobook, the Action Bible, and I listen to it every night.
Every single night?
Yes.
So essentially, does it play the entire Bible every single night?
Yes, it does.
So do you know, like, how many do you know who Job is?
Yes.
Who's Job?
He's the guy in the Old Testament who he had rich, perfect, and then Satan wanted to said to God, if you didn't give him all these blessings, then he wouldn't believe in you.
Okay, good. So you know who Job is. Do you know who Gideon is?
Yeah, so he was the guy with he was small tribe stuff. He needed to go to war, and to prove that Jesus was talking to him, he put the rag and the wool.
The fleece?
Yeah, and the water on the floor, and if the rag is wet, then the ground is dry.
Yep.
I will believe you. And then he did the opposite the next step.
Wow. Okay, what about, man, this is pretty fun. I didn't realize you knew all these things. Okay, how about Elijah?
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite characters.
Why Elijah?
I don't know. He just stands up for what he believes in, and he fights. And Jezebel and King Aaron.
Wow, you actually know all the characters. All right, yes. That's wild. Okay, and what did he do on Mount Carmel? What did he do?
So he let the Baal worshipers go first, and then he says maybe they're in the bathroom. He's in the bathroom or something.
For a sacrifice, they were gonna start a fight, and their God was supposed to answer
by launching fire on his thing. And then he's now it's after a while, the whole day, it's now it's my turn. So he gets all these rocks, puts it in form. He dumps a water moat around it. Yeah. And then he prays to God, and then fire.
Wow. Okay. So you know a lot of stories. Okay. What about? Is there any? I don't know. I'll put you on the spot. But what about Jonah? Seems like an easy one.
Yeah.
Okay. What about? How about? Do you know the difference between Elijah and Elisha?
Elisha was, I guess, Elijah's follower.
Yep. That's right. He came after him. And do you remember any of the miracles that he did?
Yeah, he turned the 42
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the mauling 42 kids because he made fun of them for.
So they made fun of him because he was bald, so he killed them all with a bear. That's a good one to remember. Don't do that. Don't make fun of prophets.
Where do you learn? Did you learn all these in children's church?
Treehouse? No. You learn about catechism questions.
Yeah.
I'm not Treehouse, but growing up in kids' church and
no, it was
doing all that, or is it just from listening to
the Action Bible? Yeah.
The Bible app or Bible whatever.
Actually, yeah, it's because it was a comic book Bible, so a graphic novel, and so we read it all the way through together, and then and then after we read it through, I was like, hey, if you want to listen to this and read along, and it came from you didn't actually read along, that's what you go to sleep to now.
Yes.
In fact, all your brothers, and I didn't make you do that, right?
No, you just said it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then all my brothers went to Jet followed along. Yep. And then I went to Titus.
Yep.
In
Paxton. So they all listen. So when we walk through the halls at night, do you ever go to the bathroom at night and hear all the different Action Bibles going on?
I love it when me and Jet's are in sync together.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does. It's. I'm not even sure how we do that with Audible, but somehow, you guys can pick up wherever you last left off.
Yeah, we could say. I don't know what it is, but sometimes at night it just pauses. I think that's what Mom does. She doesn't want to hear the voice.
Yeah, Mommy always turns it off. That's always.
Well, one time we were over there and it was later.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I think are the kids asleep? What is that noise? Because it was multiple different sounds and people talking conversations, and I'm going, what are they doing up there?
Yeah,
and then it's oh no, they're just doing.
Yeah, because it's the girl will say oh no, my son is dead. I will raise him from the dead. You know, you know, it's conversational, and so it's sort of fun.
We've since moved on from listening to Cody Sparks Band CD.
Yeah, it used to be that we'd listen to Cody Sparks Band.
Which I was like, stop listening.
That was T-Rex. He would listen to Cody Sparks Band to go to bed. That was pretty awesome. All right, so how do you feel about at church, when people say hi to you, is that hard for you?
No, it used to be, but now I know them now. So.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Does church feel like home for you?
Yes.
So you feel just as comfortable here as you do at home.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to me about like what people have said to you over the years. Like when they say hi, what do they say?
They'll just say hi, and sometimes they'll say, "How are you doing?" And then I'll answer back, "Good," and then I walk away as fast as I can.
All right, yeah. Kind of the goal is try and stay engaged just a little longer. It'd be great. All right, let's talk about one of the things that I would love to hear. Like one of the things that you're about to go into middle school.
Yes.
All right, and so we've had a whole bunch of talks about like, and you had to go through like the sex ed class at school.
Yes.
Was that so embarrassing?
Yes.
Why was that embarrassing? Tell me.
No, it wasn't really embarrassing. It was more like weird. It was like nobody expects the principal to be in there and like have all these words about like all your private parts, and they actually say the words. And then they have like diagrams of your private parts getting longer and like fatter, I guess. and you grow hair in different places.
Right, that's right. Wow, and was that just were you like was it like all the boys went in one class? All the
Yes,
girls went
yeah. They even had a diagram of the girls.
Oh wow, was that crazy?
Yes.
Was that embarrassing?
Well, no, 'cause it was like a 5-second thing.
Did you laugh at all in there? You
Yes,
did?
because I already saw the video.
Oh yeah, we previewed it beforehand.
You prepped ahead?
Yeah, we
But
prepped.
this is 5th grade?
Yes.
See, 6th grade, we did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
When I had to watch a baby being born. That was the last thing that we had to do in that class was watch a baby. And I will never, in my mind, I could see it clear as day, and that is the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life.
All right, so they told you all that, and so what else? Like as a kid, like pornography is sort of a big deal that we're all trying to prevent that from happening.
Yes.
Okay, so when was your first exposure to knowing that somebody was looking at porn at school? What grade?
I think it was 4th grade.
Cool.
And
It was just on somebody's phone.
no, it was at baseball.
Oh,
It was just like, this kid. He was talking about like this song, and he was watching the song video. And he stops to this point where he says, "Don't watch the video. There's girls naked in the shower, and there's boys with them in the shower.
yeah.
They take the video, and they're like filming them dancing in the shower."
Wow. And so at that point, had we talked about that at that point?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And so like when he said, "Hey, don't watch the video," what'd you do?
I said, "Good to know, I guess."
You're like, I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then at school, sometimes people have their phone out
Yes.
and they're just
Oh well, yeah. I caught one like when I was going to get my computer from my backpack.
yeah.
I caught a person looking at boys and naked and
Naked ladies, naked
yeah,
boys.
Yeah. And I was like, "What you doing?"
That's the craziest thing to me.
What you doing? And they were like, nothing.
Nothing. I was just playing a game on my phone.
And you're like,
Okay, nice.
What kind
Yeah.
of game?
Yeah. So that was what, 4th grade?
No, I caught them doing 5th grade. That
Fifth
was
grade.
in 5th grade.
Yeah. Okay. And were they at school?
Yeah, it was.
That's
Does that not blow your mind too, though? Like the access that kids have at 4th and 5th grade, that you're already doing that. Now I can say that like a Playboy, like a magazine.
Yeah.
Like kids would talk about it, and you would
Right.
be like, oh,
Ooh.
knowing about it.
And you could go like whenever you went to the grocery store.
Yeah, and then like see, but the access, I guess how in depth you could get on a phone and how deep that could get isn't your normal. I mean, Playboy. That was pictures, and now it's not right. But holy smokes,
It's
you're
gotten
seeing
so much more,
full-on-
way darker.
Yeah. Now I see your point, and like now I'm starting to see your point on why I won't have a phone till I'm like 17, 18.
Right.
I love
now,
that. That's
now
brilliant.
I think we can do flip phone maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll look into a flip phone. But and I was actually talking to. So I took you last night to
Great
the
Adventure.
boot camp thing at Hill Country Bible Church. They had about 200 and something kids there. What was that like for you? Because you've never seen anything with that many kids in one spot worshiping God. What was that like?
Yeah, I didn't see it when you were speaking to them. I have never seen so many kids be so interested into a sermon before.
Do a sermon or do one of his sermons?
Well, what would they say? When you talked to them or whenever you heard them?
They were just like locked in. And like I had to get past this kid, and he was excuse me.
He was just totally like watching.
And then Kayla next to me, she says, "Your dad." When you pause the story on the Gibbs guy, she said, "Your dad's a menace."
Because I paused the story. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, so you'd never seen anything like that. What was it like just worshiping with, you remember everyone's hands lifted high and you're sort of like...
Okay, I always thought when you worship God, I always thought that was just like what grown-ups do. But now that I see kids do it, it's normal.
It's kind of normal, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, if we could kind of, not that we need to change the culture of our church, we have a perfect church just as it is, but if there's one thing we could kind of get people more excited about is like getting into worship with excitement. We do tell people to worship however they feel led, because we don't want to force someone to like, worship harder, but rather we want people to experience God. And so did you feel the Holy Spirit, or was that like,
I did.
Tell me what that was like for you.
It was just like this feeling that everybody knew who Jesus was, and that was a new feeling because, well, obviously in church, but that was a new feeling outside of church that I've never experienced before. Yeah.
So when I told you about it, I said we're going to go to this thing. It started at like 9:15 at night. What was your original thought?
I was like, there's probably going to be like a million adults there, because that's when usually like I go to bed at 9. I usually go, and 9 or 10, and then they're staying up till 11. So
yeah, they went to bed. I think their curfew was 11:30.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of like that's that's you in 2 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Okay, so Cody, for you growing up, did you have? I mean, you did lots of youth experiences, I'm sure.
Yeah, but growing up so I went from I was a little young as I can remember, going on trips with my dad to speak at youth camps.
Yeah.
Even me going to like kids camp, probably starting in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So I have some of the best memories with my dad was driving from, you had to drive like 20 minutes downtown. We would drive like 5 hours. And those are some of the best memories for me of going to places like that. I mean, I can think back of just funny stuff that happened and just talking and just being there.
Yeah.
And I had that too, where there was a point where I was like, man, everybody thinks like, oh, you're Sparks' kid. Oh, Sparks' kid. And they were talking about my dad.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I guess my dad might be kind of cool. I don't know.
That's the same feeling I felt there. Everybody was adoring him there.
Like this is kind of neat.
They were taking notes on his sermon. They're like 13 years old. What?
This is interesting. Who is this guy?
Yeah, and like you've gone with me in a couple places. Like I think you went with me to St. Louis once.
Yeah, I did.
And what was that like?
Well, we went to a carnival, didn't we?
It wasn't a carnival. That was actually went to the St. Louis. It had this massive, those Ferris wheel. It was like 250 feet high or something crazy.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. Mm-hmm. And then that was just like a normal church service. That's really kind of the only thing you've really experienced, is like typical church services, and maybe me speaking at family camp stuff. But that's really it. But usually you haven't really seen me speak to
kids,
teenagers before.
No.
Yeah, because if you ever were going back and doing some of that I Am Second conferences and I Am Second things and stuff like that, and he was this age and you did that, and that would be another just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I mean, like,
that was wild.
Interesting.
What Cody and I used to do is we would just go to different cities, and we go to a college campus, just start like, hey, Cody, start playing some music right here on this campus. And then people would come hang out. We talk to them, tell them about Jesus. And then we'd mobilize them to start groups on a random campus. It was kind of wild.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, did you get in trouble at any times?
Yeah, we got a little bit of trouble. One time, we went to Lubbock, which is at Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. And so we brought like 50 kids out there, college age kids, and they decorated the campus with I Am Second stuff, which, no big deal. But then the crew people, which is a ministry on Texas Tech, they got all upset because they didn't have permission, and we were I Am Seconding the crap out of
Welcome to the Bible Belt.
Yeah, it was like, why are you doing that? And I was like, that was my days of it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission.
Yep, that's exactly
right. And it was awesome. So, there were some times. there were some wild times back there in the past of like just doing some fun things. And so that's, as you get a little older and as you get into high school and college age years, you're going to probably do some wild stuff, or where we do adventures. Really, that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. What else, Cody, for you, like when it came to the sexual stuff, like what prep did you have? Like in the 90s, I feel it was just a different era.
Yep. Did not talk about it.
It was different era.
Yep.
Nobody was worried about, not that they weren't worried about porn. It just wasn't on their radar.
Was not.
No,
No, especially being in a like preacher's home, that stuff wasn't even there. And really the internet wasn't really out until we were in like high school.
Right.
So the only opportunity you really ever had was if some random friend had a
porno or something.
a Playboy,
yeah.
or a VHS.
Right.
Play, and you're like, or a movie, like a rated R movie.
Yeah.
Where you know exactly what point boobies are going to show.
Yeah.
And you just fast forward to that point.
Right.
Which is crazy. But that whole part was, now I'm very open and want to talk to, like with Conway. I'll be like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's kind of how you are with them. I know the importance of communication and just saying, look, it might seem cool to other kids, it might, but at the end of the day, it's really just not. It's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to wreck you. It's going to ruin you in there. Other areas, just leave it alone.
So going into middle school, Austin, like when you think about sharing your faith, like, and I think it was good that you brought up some things that you don't know that we probably need to research. What were those things? Like you said, Trinity.
Oh yeah.
Why do you believe the Bible?
Yeah.
What were the other ones?
It was Trinity, Bible, and then it was like, how do we know God was real?
Yeah. How do you know God's real?
Yeah.
And when do you talk about your testimony, like I don't, because for you it was sort of strange, it's like hearing God's voice.
Yeah.
But what now? Like, because I think you said like sometimes it's hard because other kids don't think Christianity is that cool, or especially when everyone's gay affirming, or like, talk to me about like, especially in a public school atmosphere. You didn't exactly have Pride Month in elementary school because it's in June. You're already out of school, but have you experienced anything like that? Like you're like, have you ever heard the term bigot? Is that a term you guys know yet? So no. Bigot means like you are against a certain segment of the population because of your beliefs. And so does anyone get angry? Has anyone been angry at you because you're a Christian or you don't affirm gay things or trans things?
Yes, there has been a friend that has, like, we got into an
alternative lifestyle?
No, like an argument, sort of.
Oh, okay, an
about
argument.
It. He was like, one of my family members is gay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that's not right, but
right.
I can't stop him.
Right. And I think that's where it's interesting that when you just say, like, here's just what the Bible says, people get upset.
Yes.
That you would say that's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And learning how to defend that's why you have to learn, okay, how do I defend my faith in a public square? In a public square just means in public, with people who don't believe in Jesus. Because I think that's super hard. And I never thought about apologetics being so important.
Yeah.
And apologetics is just like the reason for the hope that you have. Cody, did you ever have to have like an apologetics training when you were a preacher's kid because people were asking you questions about stuff?
So this is like pros and cons about growing up in a small town, especially in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So Bible Belt is like this, they call it the Bible Belt, like up in the Panhandle Midwest, like this like row where it was just church on every corner.
Right.
So everybody up there in that area is like, oh, we believe in God.
Right.
So it was a little bit easier that everybody just was small town going to church.
Right.
Might not have been your church, but
they were at church.
Going to some church. So I didn't really get a ton of like questions of or made fun of for that because, and then once you get into 6th, 7th, 8th youth group, people are going to youth groups.
Right.
And there would be more popular youth groups at a time and it would like rotate to another church and that youth group was popular and it would rotate.
Yeah.
But youth group was a cool, like people would just go.
Right.
Now, also, the failure with that is people were going just to hang out with friends and didn't really understand what Christianity really was.
Right.
until you went to like church camp and got saved 18 times every summer, which is hilarious which is a whole nother ordeal. But the big thing of it is that people believed in that and understood and knew God was real.
Yeah. So
it wasn't a lot of pushback on that, which was nice.
Yeah.
That was really nice. Mm-hmm. So it was never like, oh, you don't believe in blah, blah, blah. And no, we all believe in God, and that is great.
All right, so on this last thing, then we'll wrap this up. A couple of things that we do as a family. Tell me, I'd love to hear your perspective on it, and I'd love to hear what you guys did, Cody, growing up. But we have, what do we do now, like in evening times, whenever we're going to read the Bible together?
We do a devotional where it's like we do SPP, say it, play it, and pray it.
Mm-hmm. And is that fun, silly? Do you like it?
Yeah.
So tell everybody what we do.
So we read a passage from the Bible, and then that we would explain what we would do. And
you'd act it out.
Yeah, act it out. And that's probably the most fun part about that.
And then we pray it by a simple prayer that's like, God, help me live out whatever truth we learned from it. And then specifically, we have specific prayers we say every night. Mm-hmm. What are we praying for right now? What are we praying for right now? Like
to get tall, for me to get taller, and also my grandpa's bank deal.
Yep.
The church to be built.
Yep. That's been on there for a long time.
And there's a couple families that I want to be saved. Yeah,
so we kind of go through the families that we know that don't know Jesus, and we just pray for them by name and ask God to intervene in their lives. And then, other things that, simple like have a great day, or if there's a test. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes, and other times I'll have you pray over me if I'm going to have a tough conversation with somebody as a pastor. Yeah. What's that like when you know that I'm going to have a hard conversation with somebody that's sort of challenging?
Well, it's weird for the pastor's kid to pray for the pastor. It's kind of intimidating.
Why is that intimidating?
It's because, it's weird.
That's fair. So last time I asked you to pray for me, how'd that feel? Like, was it weird?
Yeah, it was interesting, I guess, in that way. It was like a short, simple prayer because I really didn't know what you were walking into.
Yeah, and you did a great job, and it went really well. So I really appreciate
your prayers for him are more powerful and more important than the head elder.
Yeah, it's so good, buddy.
I mean, in reality, I could tell you that.
There's a real sense of your prayer life. If you can develop it now, like you have a real. Not that they don't, and I think he's not saying that, but it's just
correct, right?
Yeah.
It's really special.
Right.
When you pray for me, because there's something really unique there. And all the other brothers are learning to pray as well.
Yes.
I think Jet gets it.
Tice has learned it. I think he accepted Christ yesterday.
Yeah, I think he accepted Christ yesterday as well. I think it was legit too.
Yeah.
And so you're his battle buddy. So do you feel any sense of responsibility that you need to share Christ with him more?
No, not really. Not so much.
You don't feel that responsibility. You're like, nah, it's on you.
Yeah, sort of.
I appreciate that. All right, well, that's good. I mean, I think that is ultimately it's my job to represent Jesus to him. But it'd be really cool if you nudged him in a certain way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the most responsibility is just taking care of him.
Yeah. How do you take care of him?
I don't know, if he's crying, I play with him.
Yeah.
And then I go back to my thing.
Stop crying. That's pretty much usually what we're all worried about is everyone crying.
And then I give him my electronic device for a good 10 minutes.
Wow.
Then it's
so generous.
Well, yeah, super generous. and then now that he has his own thing, he's fighting with Jet to see what game he can play.
That's fair. All right. What about talk about your devotional life that we've been trying? We've implemented a couple times with reading the 1 minute devotional.
Yeah.
How's that gone? Or is it challenging still, or how do you feel about it?
I'm still understanding. It's probably I've only done it twice with you, so I'm still learning admit and that the ABC prayer, I think.
Well, ABC is just that's how you lead someone to Christ. Admit your sinner.
What the admit?
So I'm talking the devotional. Remember the 1 minute the book that we have 1 minute devotional.
Admit. It was like the A, and then there was 2 S's.
Oh, are you talking about
the treehouse one.
Oh yeah, you're talking about so it's adoration, confession, thanksgiving, supplication.
Yeah.
So in our prayer time, we did like a little Really, it was like, how many minutes did we do? 5 minutes?
We did like 10 maybe at most.
No way it was 10 minutes. It was like more like maybe 5, where we just sat
maybe.
there and prayed, adored God, confessed our sin, thanked him, and then just asked God for stuff. And then we went through the devotional, which was like just a 1 minute.
Yeah.
Literally it was like a little thing, and it was
Passage.
If you're in Treehouse Kids at our church, 4th, 5th grade, Adrian has that Bible available.
Yeah, they make
For anyone that actually gets baptized in Treehouse, they get one of those as their gift. It's just a 1 minute devotional that you can read.
They make you read it sometimes in Treehouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's awesome. All right, hey, listen, if you got any questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you got a PK out there that you need to help them out with, we'd love to kind of wrap that around. And Austin, would you mind coming back so we talk about how to teach the Trinity to fellow 6th graders or 5th graders, whatever grade you're in?
Yeah.
That would be cool to talk through Trinity, talk through why we believe the Bible, maybe an apologetics course for 6th grade. That'd be kind of our thing. But hey, if you got any questions, text us in at 737-231-0605. We'd love to hear from you. We talk faith, culture, and everything in between. From our house to yours, have an awesome week of worship.